A lot of times people say, I guess I have arthritis because I'm getting older. The reality is that is not always the case. Think about this for a sec. If you've ever known somebody, maybe even yourself, where you've gone to the doc, you've had an x-ray because you're getting lower back or hip pain, and they say, oh, your right hip is completely degenerated, there's lots of arthritis, you need a hip surgery. But you only need it on the one side. So, well, let me ask you the question here. Is your right hip older than your left one? Or the same thing might go if you've got any degenerative arthritis in your neck or other part of your spine. In the neck, for example, it's most commonly going to be at the C5, C6 area right here. If it's in the low back, it's most common down at the L5, S1 area. Right. But let me ask you, are these particular spots any older than all of the rest of the vertebrae? So yes, absolutely. The older that we do become, it's more likely that we're going to have degenerative arthritis in some part of our spine. But the reality is, it's not just because we're getting older that we may start to see it. Truth be it, I am starting to see in my own practice, kids when they are still in their teens or their 20s, I'm seeing things in them that we never used to see in people till they started to become 30, 40, 50 years old. Why is that? Because they're doing this all day and because of the devices. So what's happening is we're having too much abnormal stress and strain in particular areas of our body. And that then, the accumulation of that wear and tear, that is what is contributing to the arthritis. Think about it like this for a sec. You're driving down the highway and you decide, okay, I want to go 100 k's an hour, but I'm going to drive that in my manual transmission in second gear. What do you think is going to happen? Now, granted, your transmission's not going to blow up on the spot, but it's going to grind down and ultimately it's going to give way. So when it comes to something like degenerative arthritis, it's not just because you're getting older. It's because something happened at some point in the past. You may not have broken anything. You didn't dislocate it necessarily, but you had some kind of a physical injury, and guess what? You didn't even realize it. And the consequence of that is that it has not been moving properly ever since. And even if it's not bone on bone, it's going to start rubbing up against itself like this over a long period of time, and guess what? It's going to start to degenerate. And your body is actually going to produce the arthritis on its own. Why? Because it's creating stability. It's the only way that your body can actually say, hey, we need to stabilize this by laying down more bone so that we can try to prevent future injury. The problem is there's only so much limitation as far as what the body can do, and it's ultimately then up to you, the individual, as far as, well, what can you do to help manage that condition as much as possible? Now, granted, if you do have something like bone-on-bone arthritis, we live on a planet that's got time and gravity. We are not going to be able to undo that degree of physical damage. But nevertheless, you still can get it moving properly, because even people who may have horrific amounts of damage, as long as all the bits and pieces are still moving, guess what? They don't have to experience physical pain or discomfort. And the flip of that, if you're still pretty young, and if you do not want to develop the same kind of horrific arthritis that maybe you saw on a parent, maybe you saw on a grandparent, where their posture just starts collapsing down like this. Certainly there's no guarantees with anything in life, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're taking good, proper care of your spine with particular emphasis on your neck to make sure that everything is structurally moving the way that it is supposed to. Now, what does that look like? It means get it checked out even before you're waiting to have physical pain, things like that. If you have that bump, spill, fall, injury, and you're wondering, well, even if it didn't feel anything, maybe did that cause an issue? It's always easier to catch these things, to catch the little problem before it has the opportunity to degenerate into something real nasty like arthritis. So, in closing, is arthritis because you're getting older? Well, unless one part of your body is older than another, that's not the case. It means something happened that affected one part of your body differently than the rest, and they have prematurely worn down. So if you can figure out then, okay, well, what was the injury? What caused it? And most importantly, this is what you can do about it. That goes a really long way to keeping things working and moving as well as they possibly can, so that guess what? Even if there is a bit of wear and tear, it does not have to run and ruin your life from here on out. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed.
For more information about upper cervical care, please call us on 3188 9329 or visit us at atlashealth.com.au.